He's gonna get you. He's gonna get you.
Leave me alone.
The boogeyman is coming. Ha 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 ha. Halloween 1978. Coming up next. I got the talking picture blues. There ain't nothing left to lose. Just sitting here all day, listening to your film takes, trying to keep from killing you. Hello, and welcome to Film Takes. Mwahaha. I wasn't going to do a spooky voice the whole time. I was just going to do like little spooky jokes here and there, you know?
That's the intro.
The point of this episode, we thought a last minute spooky season episode on the ultimate spooky season movie, Halloween. Don't know how that title was never taken until 1978. Nobody ever made a movie just called Halloween until then. That's pretty incredible in and of itself. It's not the first slasher, but in many ways it's the slasher that really kicked off the genre. It's just like before it, you have obvious films like, I mean, you could go into all the Giallo stuff. I think there's like a clear difference between that and American slashers.
Black Christmas, but like
Halloween's
kind of the first.
Yeah, I mean the ones that I think of, like Black Christmas is a big one that definitely is influential on Halloween. But obviously Texas Chainsaw is from a few years before, but it doesn't. The 80s is when this really kicks off, and 78 is when Halloween comes out, and all the movies after that, all the slasher movies seem to be imitators. They're all doing these Steadicam shots, POV shots of the killer. I really love the film. I saw it. I was probably 12 or so the first time I saw it.
I was like 12, yeah.
I remember it scared the fucking shit out of me. And there's just something about it, especially Jason. You have to go to camp for Jason to get you. You know, like Freddy never really scared me that much. He's too like funny.
Michael, in the credits, he's literally called the Shape.
Yeah,
and he like the ending of the film, it cuts to different locations around Haddonfield.
But Michael can find you anywhere.
Yeah.
He came home. You know, you like that's where you're at. You're at home probably. You know,
exactly.
That's way scarier to me than like a killer at a summer camp. You know, like there's just something like I remember after I saw Halloween as a kid, every year around Halloween, I would get more and more scared of the dark and stuff because I was like, this is when Michael Myers comes out. And the older I got, like it almost intensified. But I mean, it started like my rationale started kicking in eventually, but like still in the back of your head, you're like, I'm like 17. Michael would love to like pin me to a freezer or whatever, you know.
He'd love to pin me midair with a kitchen knife,
like Bob while he went to go get the beer.
Poor Bob.
But anyway, speaking of the movie, starring obviously Jamie Lee Curtis and Donald Pleasance are the two primary actors. Donald Pleasance was certainly the biggest known name at the time, and Jamie Lee Curtis, I believe that was her first performance. What a debut. I believe it is. I think it says in the credits introducing Jamie Lee Curtis.
I think so. Fuck.
But yeah, like in the conversation for greatest debuts of all time, I would say. But she had a big career, obviously, afterwards. We know this, but like throughout the 80s, she was doing more sort of these imitator horror films like Prom Night and stuff, and they're not as good. It's just, you have to watch it every year. You got to love a movie that tells you what time of year to watch it. Dazed and Confused, you got to watch it every year around the end of summer. The beginning of summer. Jaws, July 4th. And Halloween on
December
Halloween.
25th.
Sure, then too. What's your favorite scene in Halloween? What's your favorite sequence? I'll say my favorite, and the reason it's my favorite is because it scares me the most, frankly, is the end. Everything from the boogeyman line on. It's a montage of all these rooms in this house, and then it goes out to the street view, and you see all these different houses, and finally it lands on the Myers house, and all the while you're hearing
him breathing.
And this is the reason for me why they should have never made any sequels. It's just like, it's way scarier to say Michael could be anywhere than like he shows up at the hospital a couple hours later. You know, it takes the effect out of the end. I mean, I can view it in a vacuum. I see it as its own thing, but still, you know, we just don't know when to stop, I guess, and we really should have stopped there on that first one.
If I had to guess, my favorite one, if it's not the ending, it's honestly probably the opening credits. That's like such an iconic opening title sequence.
It really is.
Especially with that music.
And it always gets my heart pounding. I'm just ready for it, you know.
Right?
It's great. First off, the score is one of the best scores ever. It's in the top 10. It is Carpenter's best score, I would say. I think I will stand by. I think Halloween is my number one Carpenter. I think it's my favorite. It's the one that I've loved the longest. It's the one that made me a fan of him in the first place. And there's just something about it. Every time I watch it, it's always effective. It's scary to me. I feel like none of the other imitators, there's not a Friday the 13th movie that scares me remotely.
It's a super, for how low of a budget it is.
Yeah.
It's a super slick movie. It's very well edited, very well shot. The DP is Dean Cundy.
Yeah.
Who also shot, Jurassic Park, Back to the Future, Jack and Jill.
I think we're going to wrap this up.
Well, how many fingers can you take from Michael Myers?
Jackson Voorhees. How many fingers do you give Halloween?
I can take about 7 fingers from Michael, and that's it.
7?
7 of them.
I think you know how many I can take. And that's
all
10.
10.
All 10. You guys have a spooky good time. Mwah.